Mikey and Rinne stay in. Oh yeah.
Ready? Ready? Love you. Hi guys, welcome to Mikey and Rinne Stay In. I'm Mikey.
And I'm Rinne.
And we are here on a beautiful Portland summer day. We just had a maple syrup avalanche in the fridge, as everybody on the YouTubes can see. I went and put a glass bottle of maple syrup into the fridge, and I touched it against nothing, and it the whole bottom fell off. And this was like, maple syrup's expensive as shit. It's gold.
Yes, no kidding.
And so it was like, yeah. And so I literally with a rubber spatula just got all of it into a Tupperware container.
Bindle of the week, don't break your glass maple syrup bottles.
Yeah, or bindle of the week, use a sponge to clean up the mayonnaise that you just spilled and then strain it into a reusable container.
Ooh.
Gross.
How are you?
I'm okay. I am, I don't know. It's I think this episode's going to be maybe another, a heavy episode.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I think that I know you want to talk a bit about this, but I'm just, we're back in baby trying mode. And, if you jumped into the show this episode, this is how the show has gone thus far. First two episodes, pregnant and pumped. Both of us talking about, hey, we're having a baby, and all the things that we're going to do. Third episode, in between second and third episode, Rinne had a miscarriage. And third episode, super sad episode. I don't know about super sad, but super real.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about what happened with the miscarriage and how it was affecting our lives. And then we got a lot of feedback from that show, just with people talking about how they loved hearing about it, and people weren't really talking about this stuff. And so the last episodes have been about the untold stories of women's health, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how much we've talked about our story.
Right. It's interesting because I sort of feel like, we had the third episode, and that was kind of like this, the pinnacle of our grief and when we really started processing. And then since then, the episodes have had sort of this crescendo, right? And
yeah.
And I think I've almost felt like there's a little bit of an expiration date or something on the amount, on the sort of your grief period. And I don't know if it was my birthday, if it was turning 39, if it was, we had some really close friends in town that used to live in Portland and have since moved back to California. So they were around and their kiddos were around, and it was just such a yummy time to have them here.
Yep.
But woo, I felt like I was right back in episode 3.
Yeah, it caught me too.
Yeah.
They have these two little kids, one who's 3.5, a boy who's just the perfect 3.5-year-old boy who's just tearing everything apart and pushing all the buttons, and he's so fun, but he's just such a loving kid, and I held him a lot. And then the little girl, who's 18 months, just is this tiny little wisp of a thing, and just wanted me to hold her, and was so sweet and loving.
She's the most connected 18-month-old you've ever seen. She has lived 1,000 lifetimes, this little being. She stares at you, and she sees your soul. Yeah. And I think it was the combination of kind of all of those things. But I just, I felt that sort of pang of on this birthday, I should be pregnant, or I would have been pregnant.
Yeah.
And
we also have some friends a bunch of friends who got pregnant right at the same time as you did.
Yeah.
And so they're how 6 months along now or whatever.
Yeah.
And they have some of them have the same due date, which is what the fuck.
Yeah.
And it stings, dude. I mean, it's definitely, I don't know, I've been thinking about you a lot in it, and we've been talking a fair amount about it, but we've also been kind of not really talking about it. And I don't know, I'm super optimistic. I don't know. I know that we're going to have a kiddo.
Yeah.
You know, and I also know, I don't know if we've talked about this on the show, but before Corinne and I really started to try to have a baby, we made this kind of like agreement where as long as we could kind of try to do this, if we didn't have a kid, that's fine. And if we do have a kid, that's fine. Mm-hmm. So kind of just like even playing field about whether or not it happened, we're going to be good. And so, I don't know. And that's been something that's been, you know, kind of coming up lately, and it's a hard one because it's like, I do want a kid.
Yeah.
And I want it to happen. And so like, and we're doing all the things, right? Like we're eating correctly, and we're having sex when we're supposed to have sex, and we're like, you know, watching the ovulation meter and all those things. And it's like, I don't know. I'm finding myself more and more bitter at like the people who just like trip and fall into 3 kids or whatever. No, I don't want 3 kids.
Right.
But the people that are just like, fuck, I don't know what happened. We just had these kids. We didn't even try. Or like, you know, my wife had a miscarriage and then 2 days later she was pregnant. You know,
right,
like,
right.
Are those stories helpful? I don't know. It's starting to piss me off a little bit.
Well, and there's Aubie's got something to say about that too.
This is why we normally have Aubie in her bed. So yeah.
But I think we did go into things sort of naively, you know, really thinking that like we're 2 healthy individuals. Yes, we're starting this process later, perhaps, than a lot of people. But you know, I really did. I just didn't think that it would be at all difficult to get pregnant, right? And I certainly didn't foresee a miscarriage. And then, you know, now that the miscarriage has happened, I've had so many people in our lives say, you're most fertile right after you miscarry, and da-da-da. And I'm, you know, now I'm having this really challenging time of, you know, I've started to have periods again, so my cycle's sort of regulating. But they're totally different.
Yeah.
And I'm having this sort of weird spotting stuff happen that's never happened before, and I kind of don't know when my period starts, and you know, and then I'm doing all the things, testing the cervical mucus. I'm not doing basal body temperature, which for those of you that don't know is you know, to track fertility. When you first wake up in the morning, you take your temperature, and when you see I think it's like a 0.5 degree raise or something in temperature, then that's a pretty good indication that you're close to ovulation or ovulating. And I can never seem to remember to do that. I'm so groggy in the morning that I'm like...
I also remember this, like, when we first were starting, and we got you, like, the nice thermometer and all that stuff. And it would, like, you'd leave it next to the bed with, like, a note that said, fucking use me.
Yeah.
It was still...
Well, then we had one that didn't work, and it was, like, reading our body temperature is, like, 93.5 or something.
Right, yeah.
Oh, great, I'm dead. That's why I can't pregnant.
Corpse pregnancies are pretty awesome, though, yeah.
I bet that would be,
Yeah. Oh, I know, babe. It's...
Yeah, so I just think that I'm like, well, what the fuck is wrong with me, you know?
Right.
It's really, it's been hard to not come to that conclusion, you know? Or at least sort of question that. And so, so I think we've really tried to keep these episodes, as is most of our life, because we have a really incredible life together.
Yeah.
And really just amazing people in our lives, and we are so, we're really lucky to have the life that we have.
I know.
So, you know, I think that we've really made it a point to keep these episodes as our life is, which is in general really incredible and happy and light.
Yeah, light and bright.
Yeah, but there is a little part of me that's felt like, well, if this is about what we say it's about, I haven't been entirely truthful, you know? So I think that we're inviting people on this show to really be truthful, and Elizabeth and Janet have both told some really amazing stories, but also some painful stories, and have been so raw and so real, and I'm returning that too.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's hard because I think we're both at the same time kind of having these. I think I'm going through my age stuff and kind of midlife passage is what I'm calling it.
Yeah, I like
not
that.
a crisis. My midlife moment, but it's in a different sphere because I'm kind of like doing it from this like, have I done enough career-wise? Have I like, am I enough? Have I done enough? Am I enough? All those things.
Yeah.
And that's a really stupid place to come from because it's just you are what you are, right?
Right.
But we're both kind of reaching at the same point, and then on top of that, we're trying to have a baby.
Right.
And yes, it's later in life. It's later than a lot of people do it, but it's also not. I don't know. We're not 90 and trying to have a baby.
Right. No.
We're in our 30s, our late 30s. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
But I think it's a story that like. It's a privileged story on some level to tell, but it's just a human story. And what I was going to say earlier is that my life has been really light and bright. My life has been very happy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, life is not that for a lot of people. And I think just in the
sure.
last year or so, I've had this kind of confluence of a bunch of different things kind of come together that have hit me. Yeah. And they're maybe not the most difficult things you could go through, but they've hit me extra hard, I think, because my life has been generally pretty easy and generally pretty happy. And I don't know, cry me a river, fucking smallest violin playing ever. But I don't know, if we're being real, I'm being real. Yeah. And it's been a hard year, And then the miscarriage was kind of like a turd fudge sundae on top of it all. Just like, wow, I'm already feeling kind of like knocked down. And then that just like, that was like putting a cigarette butt out of my eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it fucking sucked.
Yeah, and I think that there's, we can't really quantify pain, right? Because everybody experiences their life very differently, right? And so I think also in keeping with this show, we don't want to sort of have this gauge for, your thing was way more difficult or way more trying or way more taxing than this thing. And to just say, life throws a lot of people a lot of shit, and we invite you to open up and to, hopefully this can be a safe space where people can do that. And I think that that's what I resonate with when I'm listening to a podcast or just listening to someone's story. It doesn't matter what it is. It's people sort of letting you in an authentic way, no matter what the story is.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's why I love podcasts and stories too, because and sometimes we like the same sort of movies. Like we either kind of like the like blockbuster sort of action movie sort of thing, or we like a really slow, quiet story about nothing really. Yeah. Pendleton, was that the name of that? Anyways, the name of that. Patterson.
Oh yeah.
Loved that movie. Those were my favorite movies of last year. Adam Driver, and he's a poet. But it's, you can't judge someone else's reality. That's always been kind of one of my mottos. And that like, there is no harder, there's just hard.
Right. And
so someone can be going through the craziest, like, my parents were killed in front of me and, I'm a drug dealer and I live on the streets or whatever, and like, that's a really hard reality. And then someone can also like have, lost their 6-figure job and, they're unable to make their house payments or whatever, but they still like are living a relatively nice life.
Right.
And that's their hard. And then someone else, I don't know. I just think everybody's going through what they're going through, and you can't judge it because it's what they're in, and they're having a hard time with it or whatever.
Well, and I also believe that there's...
That's not very profound what you said. Just formulating it as I was going.
But I think that there's also a sort of, we're all sort of cosmically connected. And so, I think that there is this sort of collective consciousness where when our world is in a precarious place, I think that we all, on some level, we all feel that. Yeah. And so, I just always wonder about that too. There's people that know much more about astrology and things like that than I do, but I just think that we're at a crossroads, and I think that people feel that.
I know, and it's one of our good friends, Nikki, was talking about Mercury being in retrograde yesterday, and I don't know anything about that shit. But I will say that there is like when Mercury is, I don't know why I have such a hard time saying that.
Mercury?
When Mercury is in retrograde, but when Mercury is in retrograde, there's a lot of shit happening.
Yeah,
it's
so
just true. And I don't think it's like I'm looking for a couch, so I see a couch everywhere sort of thing.
Right.
But it's real. I don't know. And I just feel like there's a lot of, I'm 38. I have a lot of friends, male friends who are around the same age. I have a lot of friends going through kind of a similar thing. Like, I don't know if I'm what I am. I don't know who I'm supposed to be. I should have been doing a different career or something or whatever. I mean, I don't know. The one thing I will say about trying to have a baby earlier is that, like, maybe it's just then you're not doing it during your midlife crisis. That's a benefit. Like, maybe you're not as financially stable, or maybe you're, like, a little immature or whatever. But it's helpful just because then you're not, like, going through it all at the same time.
Right.
It's like, ugh. So, anyways.
Yeah. Well,
after some emotion, let's eat our fucking feelings.
Yes, I was going to say, we're talking a lot about feelings. Let's eat some feelings, shall we?
Oh, they're extra salty now from our tears.
So today, I don't know about you, but one of my particular comforts when I'm in a funk is chocolate chip cookie dough. I mean, literally can't think of a better comfort food than chocolate chip cookie dough.
Our friend Aaron, who was just here with his kids, we went out to do some of the shopping. And, like, don't send, like, the fat, maybe stoned dads out to buy the snack food, because we got, like, all this different stuff, but we also got, like, the raw cookie dough, but that doesn't have eggs in it, so you can just eat it out of the tub.
Yeah.
And I was sneaking inside every time we were doing anything, like having a party, sneak inside, and I would have, like, 2 tablespoons of cookie dough.
I love that Mikey, he told me this, like, a couple days later, as if he had been, like, sneaking nips of whiskey or something.
Yeah, or heroin or something. Yeah.
So let's healthify it just a little bit, because for me it's more about, like, the texture and the sweetness, and can we actually have some nutritional value in it? It turns out, yes, we can.
Ooh, la la.
So these are they're just in balls. They don't have to be in balls, but it's just sort of for ease of eating. I said balls.
And eating balls. Yeah, eating balls is pretty easy, if you know what I'm saying. I'm happy. On Thursday night, the mood is right. Wow, these are great.
So super simple recipe. It's pretty much coconut oil, shredded coconut, kind of your flour of choice. Like, this recipe called for tiger nut flour. Oh boy, I don't.
Calm down with your tiger nut.
Yeah, I don't even know where to get that. We used almond flour. I'm really sorry, California. I know that almond farming is probably going to cause huge droughts again, but we just happen to have it in our pantry. So almond flour
between almonds and avocados.
Yeah, I know.
California, we're going to ruin you. Hipsters are going to ruin you.
Seriously. But we happened to have it, so it actually worked really well. And then, vanilla, maple syrup, chocolate chips. And it's
collagen.
Oh, yeah. And then that's the key, is I ended up putting, I think, like a half a cup.
Whoa.
Yeah, half a cup of collagen.
Yeah, I can't taste that. I mean, just really wonderful.
Yeah. So you're getting, if you guys have listened to the show, you know that I am like a fan girl of collagen and gelatin and all the beautiful amino acids and yumminess that it brings to me. Mm-hmm. So anywhere that I can sprinkle it, I try to, and it just happens to be in these balls. Yeah,
I love that. Nice work.
They are so good.
Yeah, we'll put the recipe up on the on YouTube, and so we're gonna be kind of doing a lot of stuff with the show. I don't know. We're trying to make something out of it. We think that so I wrote a kid's book, which I'm revealing that on the show right now. But I wrote a kid's book about miscarriage, and I'm illustrating it right now.
You should read it on the show.
I know I should read. Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's called I Thought There Was a Kid. It's called I Thought There Was a Baby. And I don't know, I wrote it right after the miscarriage, and so I'm just teasing it because I'm not even quarter of the way done illustrating it, but I think it's going to be really awesome, and it was really helpful for me to write it at the time. So that's cool. We're also, I've been reaching out to some people. We're going to try to get on some other podcasts, because I think it's a good way of, like, showing how awesome and funny we are, and also informative. And then also, like, just spreading the message of the show. So, again, as always, it'd be awesome if you guys are listeners to the show. If you like the show, please review it on iTunes. That really helps. Please leave comments. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And tell friends about it. That'd be awesome. We're always just trying to build the numbers. And this is really something that we'd like to be able to focus some time on. So,
For sure.
if we could ever get to a place where we were like, I don't know, taking sponsorship or something, oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. Mm-hmm. So, but... those are kind of the two, just like, housekeeping things I wanted to say.
Great.
But I'm gonna, I don't know if do you have a pro tip this week?
Yeah, it's sort of a pretty obvious pro tip, but I thought that I would kind of link it back to the medicine that I practice.
Yeah.
And sort of in keeping with the theme of our show, which I think is just like, what comes up should come out, right?
Yeah.
So there's a sort of theory in Chinese medicine, which now Western medicine has, I think, really started to adopt, in that emotions can affect our physical health.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
So it's psychosomatic?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And that hasn't always been something in Western medicine. But really, the sort of East Asian medicine has known this for thousands of years. And we have these sort of concepts of emotions kind of making things really stagnant and then causing all sorts of health effects from that. And for the past, month maybe, I've been having some very interesting upper GI stuff going on, which is kind of like moved up into my chest. I'm oftentimes pressing on the center of my chest.
Yeah,
There's a really amazing acupuncture point here, right, like at the nipple line.
Yeah, we'll be driving around town, and I just look over, and Corinna's like smashing in between her boobs, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's like, she's like Uncle Jerry, who's always got like acid reflux. Jerry, stop eating all those fucking hot Chicago Franks or whatever. I don't know.
Well, so interestingly, had a good cry on my 39th birthday.
Yeah. Dog doesn't cry.
Nope. Well, you guys would not know that. You've seen me.
Oh, I know that's true.
10
that's
times,
true.
and I've cried 3 times on the show.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
But yeah, that's not my MO. And so, but I've noticed that since that cry, I had a little talk with you. I had a talk with Aaron, and kind of just, just like giving voice to this stuff. I tend to just say like, my life is good. I don't need to be bitching about stuff.
Right.
I'm fine.
Yep.
But I'm just going to go ahead and say, have you noticed me press on this point for, the past 3 or 4 days?
No, I haven't.
So...
maybe this is both of our pro tips this week.
Yeah?
Therapy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so there's all different ways that you can be therapeutic about this, but I think for me it was literally that I was having this sort of emotional stuffing that was manifesting kind of in my stomach, so I thought it was like a GI thing, but it was more like couldn't take a deep breath.
Yeah. I
literally felt a stuckness in this kind of center of my chest, and I don't know, it's
that's really interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah, totally.
But it really does feel like it's sort of dispersed.
Well, I've had one, like over the winter when I was just going through like, I don't know, I think it was like a little bit of the seasonal affective stuff, and it was just other things, and then it was the baby, and I was seeing it, but I was feeling it in my throat and then my voice. Like I felt like I was kind of metaphorically losing my voice. Like I was just like, wasn't feeling heard, or I wasn't feeling like I don't know, was expressing myself well enough or whatever. And I was like actually losing my voice, I felt like.
That's so
and I started seeing this really awesome therapist for the first time in my life. I have a dad who's a clinical psychologist, and I was a psych major in school, so I was like, I don't need this, I already know about all this shit. And then, everybody needs it. Like a neutral third party, or just someone that you can talk to about things. And it really helped. I mean, it really I felt like it literally brought back my voice. And I don't know. Yeah, I really dug it.
You know what's interesting? In Chinese medicine, we also have this concept of the 5 elements.
Sure, yeah.
which are fire, water, earth, metal, and so wood. Yeah, missed wood. And so
I like the way you did that around the. She did it kind of like a pentagram in the sky with her hands. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess it would be fire, earth, metal, water, wood. But so each of these 5 elements, sort of represents a different organ. They represent a whole bunch of different sort of characteristics. And so the 5 element metal has a resonance with the lungs or corresponds to the lungs.
Oh yeah.
And so a lot of times when people are feeling like grief or something like that, you can hear it in their voice.
Yeah.
And that like emotion that's associated with metal is grief. The organ associated with it is lungs.
Yeah.
So it like all coalesces into this really interesting theory, right? So you have some grief, it affects your lungs, it then affects your voice.
Yeah.
It's like, how did they know this
I know,
stuff?
seriously.
It's so crazy.
And I remember just through our relationship, you've kind of like, we've been like listening to podcasts or something, and there's been someone that's had this like really raspy or affected voice or whatever, and you've been like, wow, I wonder if they went through like a trauma.
Yeah.
And we'll end up finding out later in the show, like, oh my gosh, they had some horrifying traumatic thing happen to them. And and it's maybe resonated in their voice, but probably.
Right.
It's amazing.
I know, and I was thinking about, for me, that, one of the elements is earth, which is sort of like the center of all of the other elements.
Right.
It's almost like the like mother, right? And so how interesting that, my sort of, all of the feelings that I've been having have been manifesting in my stomach, have been expressed as sort of digestive stuff, discomfort and burping, and I sort of like lost my first opportunity to be a mother. And so I don't know, so it's just, sorry to get like crazy esoteric, and I'm sure that those of you who give a shit about traditional Chinese medicine are like, all right, sister.
I want to hear more dick and fart jokes, guys. Come on, that's what I tuned in for.
But I just find it, endlessly interesting, and it sort of gives me a place to like put everything.
Right.
Other than just like, oh, I'm spinning out in misery. I can sort of really start to just make associations, and that helps.
Well, it's nice to categorize things too, and kind of be able to like say like, this is why this and that's why that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it does give some order to the world.
Yeah.
Which the world can feel fucking crazy and out of order.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, and it's, well, anyway, so let's, I mean, we haven't really been sticking to our normal things, but I have a loose bindle of the week, I guess.
All right.
Yes.
Give us a loose one.
Give us a bindle. So yeah, the bindle is where we talk about like kind of how we're saving money for the baby, saving money for other things. So this is, so a bunch of our friends have been giving us their old baby stuff.
Yeah.
So they've been giving us car seats and giving us cribs and all these different things and clothes. And this is going to make my mom's head spin, who has like the most Irish superstitions. She's like, you guys aren't pregnant and shouldn't be taking baby stuff, but it's awesome. Yeah. And just the idea that there's so many things that come from babies that like they barely ever use and are still in great condition. And this is a big one or whatever. But like, so we're just like, trying to have a baby. But I'm starting, I'm burping. I'm just starting to accumulate all of the baby stuff in the basement.
Great.
And it's great.
Great.
And I just think it's really fun, and it's like, why not take some more time to kind of gather things? And I don't, we're very gender neutral in the way that I think we're going to raise the kiddo until they, decide to flex out and rock that awesome prom dress or something. And so, I don't know, I just think it's a cool way to save some money, because everything is so crazy expensive. Cribs are crazy expensive.
And it's a one and done, especially with clothing.
Oh,
and, kids put on an outfit for 5 minutes and then they vomit in it and then they never wear it again.
Yeah. So. But there's some cool websites that I was looking at that are kind of like hand-me-down sort of websites that I think are really, I don't know, I just think it's a really great idea.
Well, we'll link to those.
Stuff.
Yeah, we'll link to those, because that's, I think that there's I know this with like planning a wedding. Yeah. There's this pressure to like, you've got to get
oh my gosh
the best, and if you don't spend X amount of
excuse me, I just dropped my microphone. Got really excited.
And if you don't spend X amount of money, you don't love your spouse and you're
Right.
going to have a terrible wedding.
Oh, they're going to ruin the wedding. I mean, I think that is true with things like photographer, caterer.
Ooh, yeah.
Don't blow
Spend
that.
the money there.
Spend the money there.
Yeah.
Because if you have shitty pictures of your wedding, oh boy.
Yeah.
That's forever. Sorry. But yeah,
no, but it's true. It's really, I think it's a really good point. I think that we forget.
It's all good.
Just go out and buy new stuff.
Well, and I've also I'm getting like a new laptop, and I've always just gone to Apple, bought a laptop for too much money, and then someone recently was like, no, you got to get the refurbished, like that's the way to go, and it is. It's like hundreds of dollars cheaper to get like one that's the same computer, or it's maybe a year old, but in perfect working condition. You can get Apple Care. I don't know. I just think it's awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, never looked into it before, but that's all I got.
I would like to finish on a celebration of a state that's doing some awesome stuff.
Good. I didn't know you were going to do this.
Yeah,
surprise to me.
I hadn't really, but I was just on a. Hold on, let me get my phone.
She's going to get her phone. What time is it? Oh, it's perfect time. It's 3:33 p.m. right now. Mike Sheether was born at 3:33 a.m.
Oh.
Yeah, on September 20th, 1980.
Oh,
that's my baby story. We're next week we're gonna have an interview, and that's gonna be super super fun.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah, Elizabeth, I just want to shout you out from last week. You're incredible.
Totally.
She's so savvy and smart and funny.
Yeah. If you guys haven't listened to our past episodes, go back and listen to them all. We're amazing. Every episode has like a different energy because hey, it's life. Sometimes humans have different energy. But we have 2 interview shows.
Yes. Yep.
Janet and Elizabeth. And both of them are so awesome and these really unique stories that I think I haven't really heard before, and I just thought were wonderful. And we really got great feedback from people about them. So go back and listen.
Yes.
Subscribe on iTunes. Give us some words on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you'd like to share your story, you can email us at letseat@Mikey and Rinne Stay In. We'd really love to hear from you.
.edu. That's letseat@MikeyandRinneStayIn.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so just to finish up here, U.S. News just released sort of, I think what they're calling it, they're just calling it a guide to abortion laws by state. And Susan Mulligan, who's a senior writer at U.S. News, published this late June. And so she sort of shouts out what's been going on in Mississippi and Kentucky and Missouri and such. And then down at the bottom, she's got a section which says states protecting abortion access in state law. And so I'm just going to pick one. It's actually one of my favorite states. It's a really beautiful state. Shout out to you, Maine.
Oh, Maine.
I see you, Maine.
I love Maine.
So Maine has a Democratic governor. Her name's Janet Mills. And on June 13th, she signed a law that expands insurance coverage for abortion in Maine and lifts the ban on coverage of abortion under Maine Care, which is Maine's sort of Medicare program.
Yep.
So, holy shit, that's really, really big.
Huge.
That's huge.
Especially for a state that can do there's some conservative stuff that happens there.
Oh,
It's not
like
a fully blue state or anything.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
So, I think,
that's cool.
her really stepping up it's a big deal.
Yeah, that's great.
And then the other thing that she did on June 10th, which I think is really cool, this is a sort of separate law, but this allows health professionals who are not physicians to perform abortions.
Oh, wow, okay.
So like physician assistants.
Custodians. I brought my plunger. Sorry, that's not funny.
Nurses that have had, sort of advanced training, and really the law was meant to expand abortion access in. Oh my God.
Sorry.
You get a guy.
Yeah.
But to expand abortion access in more rural areas, which might not have MDs, they might have more PAs and things like that. Oh yeah,
that's totally true.
So those 2 things,
that's amazing. Medicare
expansion, and then who can actually perform abortions, that's fucking huge.
That's huge. Good work, Maine.
Maine!
Yeah, we've got a lot of...
See you, Maine!
We have a lot of good friends out there, a lot of family in Maine.
Yes.
Yeah. Glad that's happening.
Bravo.
Awesome.
Bravo to you.
Yeah, those are happy things. And it's, when we're in the middle of like, I think there's, 74,000 candidates for the Democratic nomination. Yeah. And then there's 2 candidates on the Republican side, which is really great. Bill Weld running against Trump. Boom, he's going to
I know, Republican.
One, 2 punch.
One of you guys should
Fuck
step
yeah.
up.
Step up. Well, I don't care if you aim to win. I just think just take some votes away from Trump and just bruise him up a little bit so we can get a Dem in there. But it's just, I don't know. I've been kind of like, some of the Democratic candidates have been, impressing me. Some have really not. But it's just, I don't know. I love to hear these kind of glimmer of hope in the darkness, moment of darkness sort of stories. So that's really awesome. Yeah,
and like you said, especially in a state which is sort of traditionally a very purple state.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just to have a governor that's really stepping up to the plate for women's reproductive health.
That's awesome.
Protection, I think is amazing.
Gotta look out for our ladies.
Yeah.
This was a fun show.
It was.
Do you feel like you covered everything in the world you wanted to?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, we love that you listen. We hope you love that you listen too.
We really love that you listen.
We love doing this. It's like it's an hour a week or a half hour a week that we just get to sit down and just talk to each other, which we do all the time anyways. And I don't know. I really love being able to do it with you. I love that people are interested in it. Even if it's just a sliver of the world. Yeah. I'm glad that we have some friends in our circumference. This is one thing about your birthday that I'm gonna put up us singing Happy Birthday to Rinne on Mikey and Rinne because she cried. I cried. Everybody was kind of tearing up, and it was like we didn't expect it, and it was this really. How often do you get sung? How often do you get sung to by a group of 45 people or whatever it was here? It's just that is emotional.
I know people in our world are really, really special, and we've got a little microphone where we can say that we love you and we appreciate you, and
we love you guys.
Yeah, that's really
new friends,
special.
Old friends, new family, old family. Love you all.
Make new friends, but
keep the old. One is silver and the other's gold. And of course, you tune in for our song stylings of Mikey and Rinne Stay-In's Lounge series. Because we're singing half the show.
We're going to release an album.
Yeah, what are we doing? We're singing, crying, fart noising, and eating on the microphone.
Jesus, how is anyone still listening?
I don't think they are. I think they're literally just, these microphones aren't even plugged in. Yeah. Listen, I love you.
I love you.
Yeah, and I'm Mikey.
And I'm Rinne.
And tonight, we're gonna stay in.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, bye. Love you.